I won't say this is very impressive yet, but these are the recent updates from FlutterFlow. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be looking at the recent updates from FlutterFlow, February 2nd, 2024. From callback actions to parameter, their new data table, the new color picker, and how to export your project as a Flutter module, along other minor fixes. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any new video. Let's get right into it. Again, this is just my personal opinion and personal observations, but the recent updates doesn't really like carry much, or I don't know, maybe it has something that you've been wanting or something that you're dying to have on FlutterFlow. But this is just based on like the communications that we have going on, like with the release. There's not much happening, and based on the features, you're not seeing like a lot of things. Again, this is my personal opinion, but I just like to probably get that out of the way. So we have things like callback actions to parameter. We have the new upgraded data table. There are a lot of things that you can do now with data tables. There are new color picker, a way of setting colors and using them. How to export a Flutter project as a module and other improvements. So let me show you real quick what we are going to have by the end of this video. So here's our test mode. This is the update February 2nd, 2024. If you've not watched like the things I touched on in the previous update, you can definitely check that out. And subsequently, I'll be making this project available that you can use. So we have February 2nd, callback actions with parameters. So this example simply just makes use, like I did the same thing, both the old way and the new way using callback. So it simply makes use of you being able to click on a component and having the data show on the page that has the components without having to use an app state or something. So if I click on Millie, I'm going to get Millie shown here, Therese, and I can scroll and select Elijah or whatever thing, and it shows the same thing here, but these are the two ways that it can be done. The next thing we have is upgraded data table. So for this data table, I'm just pulling data from an endpoint, a crypto endpoint. So these are just crypto assets. And as you can see here, you can do rows per page, you can do 5 rows, and you can paginate to the next one automatically. All of this is being handled by FlutterFlow. And you can select items 1. So the thing is, if you select like this couple of items and you go back to this page, right, then you come back forward, you still see this item selected. I really like this feature. And yeah, there's also sorting, but there's no documentation yet. Hopefully FlutterFlow is going to explain to us how to handle that. Then we have new color picker, where you see this like in the project, how to use a new color picker. There's nothing to really demonstrate here. We have export project as Flutter module, where you can export your FlutterFlow code to a reusable module that you can use in many applications. Yeah, other improvements include things like setting a custom length for a pin code. Now you can set dynamic length for pin code, like not specifying manually that let it be 4. You can do 6, you can do 3, you can do, yeah. So clearing multi drop down. Imagine we have these drop down options and I select one. If I clear, it's going to clear that option. So there's an action to now clear that drop down value. I really like that. Now, this next one is the ability to create a Firebase item or a Firebase record while specifying the ID, like manually specifying the ID. So this is my collection here. I don't have anything currently showing on Firebase. So I'm just going to do create item. And what I've set the ID to be is the ID should be the current timestamp, right? So if we come here, okay, yeah, this is the item. And this single item has been created. The item ID is the current timestamp. So you can modify this anyhow you want, but roughly that's what we're going to be looking at. Stick around, hit the button below, and let's get to it. So as you already know, this is the template application that we're using for all FlutterFlow updates. So if you haven't watched the one that we did for January 12th, that's like last month, you should probably go check that out. I think I'll link it here on this card. And for today, this is our setup. We have this folder for that. So the first thing, we have callback actions with parameters. Anyways, let me give some background here. Initially, when you are working with like callback actions, you have to define like a page state to manage things. Like say, I have a component and I want to execute a call an action within that component. So we have to keep track of like data that we're using like things like the app state, which is global, because we cannot read page state variables underneath a component unless we have to pass it there, and we cannot update like the page state variable back. We have to update like the global app state variable before we now read that app state variable in our page or on our page. And that's how like the things have been working before. So above here, I have the old way, therefore old way using app state, and the new way using callback. So I'm just going to do a simple implementation on how this new functionality can save some of your development time. So in this case, I have this API. If you already know, I have this API called random person API. So this is the API. And what it does is it just get like queries this random user API endpoints, and it gets 10 users. So I'm going to test the API endpoint just so you see, but I had this set up like from the last update. So we have this data returns from the query. I can copy this and view it in our JSON viewer so I see how it looks presentable. Anyways, we have this data as an example or as a response, something like this. And what I'm going to do is we have this component that is going to be displaying like a user. This is a component, say person card. It's going to be displaying details of that user, like the user first name, their country, their date of birth, like their age. I don't know if you can see very well. Yeah, that's what is going to be displayed here. And we are going to make it in a way that we show like this list of users in a list view. This is a component on its own. Then we are going to embed that component out here on this page, and users should be able to click on that component, and then something happens back here on this page in front of here. Anyways, let's just go with the setup so that I see what I'm talking about. Now I have this wrap. What I'm going to do first off is I'm going to query this API, the API call to get the list of users. So I'm just going to do the API call. API group is person API get random users confirm on this wrap, and I'm going to generate children based on that data. So let's say, and it's going to generate children. Now I haven't embedded anything inside this wrap, so I'm going to add that component, the component that we created. This is the component, person card, this one. So you just see this thing is already aligning here. And one thing you have to note is on this person card, I'm just simply passing a single object as a parameter, like a single person object. If you look at this JSON response, this is how a single person object looks like. It has a name, first name, it has a location, whatsoever. So I'm just simply passing all of this object into that component. That is what I'm doing. And here in the component, I'm querying, I'm navigating our JSON pattern to the first name. So that's all we have. Now, what do we need? Back here, we're having this error because we have not passed the actual object to this component. So I'm going to pass the random user item. That is a JSON that I want to pass to that component. I just want something that somebody can click here and then they can get the response displayed up here, right? And to keep track of that, initially what we'll do is to create an app state that holds a list of, let me say, list of persons, list of users, and this is going to be of data type JSON. Remember, we are just passing the whole user random user object, and it should be a list. So this is just going to hold a list of users, right? And back here, when we click on this container to select the user, what do we want to do? Update the app state, like the global app state that is outside, with this new user object. So let's open this and say state management, update app state. We want to add to list. So what do we want to add? We want to add that particular person object that has been sent. So at every instance, when this component is being clicked, it's adding that object to that global app state. Now we need a means of actually displaying the users or the persons, the random user that has been added to that app state, and that's this what the space up here is for. So up here, I'm just going to add inside this wrap, I'm just going to add like a choice chip to display like just the names to make our work easy. And I'm going to generate the children dynamically because we have that our app state that has a list of objects. So define the options. For the options, I'm going to say app state, what app state, list of users. Yeah, I want to map the list of items so that I display just the names and not everything. List of items, excuse me, item, JSON path. And according to this, our JSON, to get the name, we need the object.name.first. I think that is that. This is what we have. So if I run this test mode, we should be able to see like a list of users loaded down here. And when I click, the app state will be updated So what we have here is when we click on this thing, it's only rebuilding the component. It's not rebuilding the whole page or all the other pages. We need to build the other pages so that this data gets propagated to the other page. So I'm saying rebuild all pages. Yeah, let's keep it that way and run a test mode. All right, so we have this now, and let's go to update February 2nd, and I think callback actions with parameters. Yeah. Okay. Old way. The data is loading. I think my network is a little bit slow. Okay. So we have this are the list of users, random users. So if you click here, yeah, we should see like, okay, we selected Joas, we selected Blagoda, whatsoever thing. And yeah, and so on and so forth. That's just how this simple functionality works. And this is how we're able to get it in case we're doing it like the old way. We have this, we select, then you see the user that was selected. And what happens is when we click on this component once more, we update the global app state. And then back here on the normal page, the front page, we are reading what we have updated from the app state to display here. Now, how does it work with callback? So I'm just going to do this simple setup, and when we're right back, I'll walk you through the process. So on our components, we need a callback function that is going to be executed on these components. Therefore, the function is going to be sent from the page and it will execute on this component, and it should be able to do the similar thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create, like normally how we normally do, create a parameter here call, which is a callback function. Let me call it callback func, like that, just something like that. And the type, it's an action, right? Now, this is the amazing thing, the parameter. So you can now add an action parameter here on this callback. And what parameter do we want to add? We want to just pass in a JSON, of course, because that's what we need on the front page. We want to just pass in a JSON. And I'm just going to say user obj. I don't know if that's okay. Obj, something like that. The type is a JSON. So this callback function receives a single parameter called the user object, right? So this is what we are passing here. Now we need to set the action that will actually execute the callback function. So for that, the same thing, similar thing, I'm going to come here and set an on click. So when we click on it, what should we do? It should execute the callback. So I'm just going to search callback here, execute callback. Which callback? The callback function that we passed as a object, as a component parameter, and the user object to use here is simply the user object that we also passed. So let's execute that action. Now you can tie this to a lot of other things. You can continue executing a lot of other actions within that component and have things reflect on the main page following the same pattern. Can add a lot of other actions, but that's just like the beauty of having ability to pass that function. Initially, probably like if we want to use something here, we'll be reading from a state variable. So now back on our page, we need to pass one. What do we need to pass? The person object, which is the list of random user. Okay. Now what should our callback function be? We have so many things I want to do here. But first, remember, we don't have a means of displaying this thing here yet. So in this case, I'm just going to use something as simple as this particular page state variable. I just hope I'm explaining this thing well. So yeah, so I'm going to say selected user. Now this the whole idea is this is just so flexible in so many ways, and this is just a way that I choose to demonstrate this. I hope it's clear. And this is going to be a JSON, a list of JSON. Now back on our component that we have embedded on this page, what callback do we want to execute? What we want to simply execute is we want to update this page state. Now it's not an app state, this page state, because we have access to that data that is found in that callback, in that component. So I want to update this page state with, so I'm going to say add to list. What are we adding? We are adding the callback parameters. You see up here, the callback parameter is now available, sorry, on that page. So we now have access to what is inside, so which is a user object. And this, as simple as that, you should be able to get the same implementation. And here I can just simply add like a choice ship to the same thing to display the user. So we have that. And if we refresh and we go now to that page, callback actions with parameters, this is the new way using callback. Oh, it looks like I forgot to like update the images, but we are selecting maths. And now we should be able to see the user here, Azela, Ella, Emily, and the same thing too. This one should function the same, like similarly. So this is just how this same implementation can be done in two ways. But the most important thing is you now have ability to pass a parameter in your callback actions and then also read that parameter on your page state. I mean, that is amazing. This is just one way of using it. You can use this to adapt in any way you want your application to be. But yeah, that is just the explanation I choose to go with. Hopefully you got the point. Yeah. So the next thing we have here is upgradable data tables. I'm going to be honest, I've not like used data tables a lot, but let's just find that out together. The documentation doesn't have a lot of these new updates, so I'm just going to be looking around together. Let's look around and see what we can figure out together. So let's go to this page. This is our upgraded data table page. So for this, I'm just going to switch to desktop view so that I have a beautiful look of things. And for this test, I have this CoinGecko API endpoints that just queries like the market, the crypto market for the top 100 crypto coins, crypto assets rather. So yeah, queries the market for the top 100 crypto assets, and it's just going to present that data here. Now I use this as figure because figures are beautiful. I selected this endpoint because figures are beautiful on tables, and I have the API endpoint configured. I'm not using like app states because in your case, maybe using like real world data, maybe querying things from the database or using an API response or whatnot. So this is the CoinGecko API, crypto against USD. If I test this endpoint, again, this is a free endpoint I just found online and I decided to demo with. If I query this endpoint, we have a list of things going on. And back here on FlutterFlow, I also created like a data type. I also created a data type called crypto object just to make things simple. I'm extracting just the fields that I need. So I have the ID, symbol, name, image, current price, market cap, whatever thing, the market cap rank. Therefore, like on the API call, I'm going to convert this response to a data type, right? In my last video, I showed you the importance of having like your API response casted as a data type. So if you have not seen that, in the last review, FlutterFlow update, I did that. So if you have not seen that, you have to go and check that video out. So as you can see from this response, this is just returning a list of crypto assets, right? So I'm just going to say pass as a data type, and what data type is a crypto object and it's a list of objects, right? So this, I'm just going to add a JSON part here so that it's easy for us to identify, and the name is going to be assets. Right, it's a list of data type. Now back here comes the big boy, the data table. So I have this container. I'm just going to add the data table into it. Wow. Okay, at first glance, I've not tested this out, but at first glance, this is, yeah, it's looking good. We have like a pagination here, page 1 of 4. I don't know, there should probably be a lot of configurations and a lot of actions to be done revolving around this. First off, I don't like the header. How can I modify it? Let me come here on the side. Style, header row color. Okay, I don't like this. Let's use this instead. Yeah, I think this is better. So we have that. And well, let's display our data. So I'm going to query our data up here. So here I would like to display like the rank. So I'm just going to put hash here to be the number. I'm going to say the name of the crypto and market cap. Let's try with these three first. So the first one, what do we want to display here? We want to display the number. So I'm just going to go with crypto asset item, data structure field, and what do I want here? Market cap rank. That is what is going to be displayed there. The next one, the name of the assets, data structure field. What do I want to display here? The name. We have market cap here. I want to display the market cap. Naming number number format, currency symbol is dollar. Confirm. So with this done, let's just take a first glance at how our table is going to present itself before we look at all what is available to be played with. I'm going to reload, instant reload. Okay, let's wait for it. Nice, interesting. Okay, let me extend this thing so that I'll see the table very well. So we have, yes, Bitcoin is the first, definitely. Ethereum, Theta, XRP7 is a market cap over 844 billion, 284 billion. Okay, sweet. There's supposed to be 100. Okay, rows per page 10. If I say 5. Oh, if I say 5, it's going to show 5. This is good. This is good. Like, there's just some cool things already happening out of the bed. 25. Yeah, okay, it's restricted within this container, so you can scroll. We have 1 of 25 out of 100. So let me go back to 10, right? And okay, yes, it just happens without even glitching. Okay, let's go to the next page. Yeah, it starts from 11. This is cool. Okay, well, I think this is some brilliant updates to this table. This is nice, by the way. This is good. 100, and all 100 should show. Okay, now let's look at what is available for us to play with on this data table. So back here, I'm on the data table. If you see here, empty list, number of columns 3. This has been there. You can say 5 if you want to add more, right? That's if you want to add more. You have selectable. Okay, if you toggle selectable, just like our normal, yeah, you can select this thing. Hide pagination, then we hide pagination at the bottom here. Show first and last button. If you check this, it's going to show I think this is first and last. Okay, nice. I'm going to hide that. I don't need it. Layout. Okay, I think selected fill color. Let me change this to something. Yeah, so I think this is just basically like what we have externally here. Also mentioned like that including column sorting for better data organization, toggle select for easier data manipulation, okay, and customizable pagination among other exciting improvements. Now we've seen the pagination, we've seen how to do toggle select. So definitely if something is selected here, let me just come let me just add a button below and see if we can tie an action to it while reading the data that, something from the data table. Again, I'm just trying this. I've not looked at this. And if we come here to try to tie an action to it, we see that action. Let me use something like an alert or notify so that we can see the list of things that we have access to. So we click on the title, for example, widget state. Okay, data table selected rows, data table sort column index, data table sort ascending, data table rows per page. Again, I've not had time to play with this. We are looking at this together. So let's try that sorting, for example. Now I've seen like a couple of things that are available. If we come here on the data table itself and click on this heading, let's try to see if we can sort based on the market cap, right? Sorry, the ranking of the crypto asset, like those that are first, those that are second. Data table header, if you click on data table header, okay, sortable. It says whether this column is sortable. If so, it will display a sort icon next to it. Note, you must handle sorting on your own by using the unsort changed action on the data table. This will not be taken care of automatically. Okay, let's enable it, right? And then our data table, let's see the actions that are available on it. Let's say unsort, on page change, unsort changed, on rows per page changed. Okay, okay. There are so many actions, like you can see actions type like on this row per page change, on the next page, or on sort. Now I want to sort. Let's see what is going to happen here. On sort change, let me search for data table. I think it's going to be under widget and UI interactions. Okay, control data table, right? Yeah. Data table control. Yeah, this is the table, paginated data table. No, we don't want to control. Update sorting. Okay. Column index is 0. Ascending. Let's do descending. False. I don't know what that is going to do, but apparently there are a lot of things. The documentation doesn't have all of this yet. That's why I'm mumbling around. But yeah, let's just see what is going to happen if we start a new test mode and see. Okay. Yeah, now we have this, and I think we can select all. Let me see if we select all and we go to the next page, will it select everything? No, it doesn't. If we come back, does it? Yeah, it does. Okay. This is a cool discovery. Okay. Nice. Okay, sorting. I don't know. Something should happen here. Nothing is happening. if I change this to update sorting, column index, let me see, column index, data table, sorted column index, right? If I just select that, I don't know, again, we are just trying. Let me see an update. Currently it's on ascending, but now we are saying it's ascending, false. So let's see if there's any difference. Go back. Yeah, we have this. I don't see anything. What's supposed to happen? So guys, I've tried like a couple of things and I'm unable to get this sorting work. And I think this is something that FlutterFlow really has to consider. Probably like only broadcast a new update when probably the docs is ready, because this is really helpful. Not just for my case, but there are a lot of people asking, like if you come even down here, that people are asking the same thing, and it happens on every update that they publish. Like they push the update before they come out with the docs. And I know for sure that they use Gitbook for their documentation, and Gitbook has a method or a way of like creating drafts. So you can create drafts and then hold the draft, and then when you're ready to publish, before you publish the draft. So that's probably something they have to consider. Again, just my opinion. Now the next thing we have is the new color picker. Now this is just very simple. So this is the page. What I'm just going to add here, I'll add a container. Now, if we go to the background color, or this definitely applies like everywhere that I want to do the color picking, or I want to set a color. So let's select here. This is the new color picker that they have. So you have your primary color here, the secondary color, and second color. Let's say we set this to our tertiary color, right? And we want to modify that. You can input a text value or come here and use a color picker. Okay, yeah, the picker tool doesn't work like outside. Say if you have a color existing here, you can just like use this picker, like how Figma, something like Figma is, you can use a picker and select something on your design. So that doesn't go out. So it only allows you to specify a color here. And I think with the new color picker, people were asking like, how can they change or clear a color that they have set? So you just have to click here, come on this picker, and then you can clear color. So you have that. And the shortcut here back on this picker, you have like the recent colors I have used. Okay, I think, okay, it has a color code. Now the color picker has this search bar. Let me see if I search for red, will it bring up red? Okay, no, it can only search for colors like primary that you have named. Okay, I thought like if you select like blue, if you know how Canva works, for example, when you type blue, you can get the blue color and various shades of blue. So I think that would be a handy thing to have. Yeah, because somebody can want to use Indigo and don't know like the color code for Indigo, rather than going online to search for the color code and whatnot, you should be able to just search the color here and probably get the color and various shades proposed so that I can use. Yeah, but this is still an amazing change to the color picker still. So the next thing we have here is export project as a Flutter module. We've introduced the ability to directly export project as a Flutter module using the Flutter CLI. Yeah. This powerful new functionality is designed to seamlessly bridge the gap between FlutterFlow and your existing applications, allowing for the integration of rich customization and interactive features developed within FlutterFlow. Now, the difference between a package in Flutter and a module is that like a package brings native functionality into your application. Let's take, for example, you want to use the URL launcher package, for example. What it does is it's having code that launches a URL on a default browser, regardless of whatsoever device, right? So if you're using an Android, it's going to just do that particular fixed task, like launch this URL. If you're using iOS, if you're using the web or whatsoever thing, is going to launch a URL. There's a lot of code happening behind that's specific to having that run. Now, something like a module, you can have your whole application, let's say a social media application, you can separate it into modules like having the chat functionality as a module. You can have the login and authentication, all of that functionality as a module. So it has both code and the UI that users can interact with, and you can build or use that to rebuild and integrate and use in multiple applications, multiple Flutter applications, right? So you can just export your FlutterFlow, something they have done nice on FlutterFlow, you export it and you have the ability to reuse it and all its functionalities. So yeah, I think that's just a simple explanation on that. So I'm going to try to get the FlutterFlow CLI, and let's test this out and see what we are going to get. So this is the FlutterFlow CLI, and this is my terminal. On this project. As you can see, there's nothing here in this folder. It's empty, and I'm just going to install the CLI. All right, so it's done installing. Apparently, I have to add this thing to the environment variable. So I'm just going to do that. And open back here, we should be able to have FlutterFlow in our console. FlutterFlow available here. So if I just type like FlutterFlow, we should have something. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is the docs, how to use it. We can just do FlutterFlow export code. That's project, the project ID, the destination to the output folder, and then the token, we pass in the token. So I'm going to grab my token from here and then just prepare that script so that we can execute it and see what is going to happen. So this is the my notepad. I'm just going to paste that here. Project ID, destination output. Let me say ff-updates, because that's where I want it to go. Dash no include assets dash token. Let me see token. I don't need this. Let me remove this token and then I paste the token. I'm going to revoke this token after using it. So this is the token. Now the project ID, I'm going to paste my project ID here. There we go. Now this should just like import our normal projects and not like the module in the module way. So what I want to do is I want to import the project normally, like download the project normally, and then I also do using this dash dash as module flag to see the difference on how it's going to look like. So let's clear this and then run this code. So what is it saying? Could not find the command name. Well guys, I think I've faced an error. I've tried with CMD, I've tried with bash, this shell, and I'm still getting could not find command base. Anyways, I'm not going to drag more on that. You can probably rectify that and see. But the whole idea is when you probably export your code with the flag as a module, you're going to get it structured in a way that you can reuse it. So this is where I think the amazing Dimitar is going to shine. He's probably going to come out with an amazing video explaining like how this thing works and probably more other things. So now the next thing we have here is other improvements. So you can now dynamically set the pin length for a pin code field widget. Okay, let's just see that real quick. So this is the other improvements page column, and I'm going to just add a pin code. So initially, the only way to like set the length for a pin code field was to specify it manually. But right now you can add it dynamically. Pin code length, okay. By default here we have 6. So right now you can now specify the length dynamically, probably get it from somewhere. Yeah, I think this is an interesting feature. The next thing we have here is we've added a new action to clear multi-select dropdowns. Let's add a dropdown here and see what we are going to. So I'm just going to add a row here, add a dropdown and a button that we're going to tie the action to it to clear the multi dropdown. So let's select. This is the dropdown. Let's just add like random options and toggle multi-select. And on this button, according to what the documentation or what that announcement is saying, we should be able to get an action here that allows us to clear the multi dropdown. So let me see clear, I search for clear. I don't see anything. Anyways, let me go to widget and utilities. I'm not seeing anything. I don't know. Really, I don't know where to look at. Okay, let me search for dropdown instead. Oh, reset form field. Reset drop-down fields. Okay. Yeah, okay. Now we can reset it. Okay, that's cool. Right. So that's where the functionality is under like form fields. The next thing we have here is you can now create your own custom IDs for Firebase documents using custom ID toggle. Well, I think this is very, very important. You may want to be creating your Firebase documents in your collection following a certain pattern, using a certain pattern for your ID and not just the randomly generated IDs that Firebase provides. So this is a useful thing to look at. This project doesn't currently have Firebase set up, but we can do that and also like demonstrate how that actually works. And if I notice anything, I'll point it out. Now, I don't know if this process that we're about to do ties with this last thing. Added an option to remove the Google permission required for automated Firebase setup. I don't know if it ties to this new process, but if there is anything, and if I notice anything, I'll point it out. But there's definitely some improvement with this automated project creation on Firebase. Like there's a lot of instructions here to proceed with. Anyways, but I just want us to see like the action that actually does the automated ID assignment. So item, well, let me choose a template. Let's say it's a product. Let's just do this, right? So we have this. Now, if we go here and we want to create a new item, let's just say I'm going to add another column here. Sorry, another button, for example. That's going to like just do like create item, for example, on Firebase. And then I want to see specifically how that automated ID looks like. So if I come here, backend database, Firestore, create document, collection item. Oh, okay, this is it. This is how it's visible. When enabled, the Firestore document will be created using the specified ID. So enable. And now this is good. Now you can generate like an ID to suit whatsoever thing that you want. You can customize it, and I think this is very, very useful. So let's say probably an item using the authenticated user ID. You can do combined text. This is interesting. Copy variable. Let's see, combined text. Yeah, this is a very, very, very useful functionality, I think. So this is good. I think a lot of people are going to be able to use this so very much. So this is my collection here. I don't have anything currently showing on Firebase. So I'm just going to do create item. And what I've set the ID to be is the ID should be the current timestamp, right? So if we come here and this single item has been created, the item ID is the current timestamp. So you can modify this anyhow you want. Now we have implemented UMP SDK for AtMops. I have no idea what this is. And there are a couple of more interesting things that FlutterFlow is promising. FlutterFlow for Windows, I know a lot of people are looking forward to this. I personally am. So yeah. So guys, thank you. That's been the FlutterFlow update for this February. And if you have any questions, I don't know, be sure to leave it down in the comments and just give me any feedback on how you want me to be talking about these updates. But I think us working through it together, it's useful. I just like to be acquainted with the things that FlutterFlow release, just so in case it comes handy at some point. I have an idea on how to work around it. So well, general takeaway, my suggestion is FlutterFlow should try like look for a way to probably send out some base documentation when they are announcing these releases. I think it's going to be very, very helpful. And I look forward to the documentation on a couple of things. This has been this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe down below. And yeah, if you found value, be sure to let me know if you have any other thing that you want us to talk about with regards to this update or any other topic. Thank you very much. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.